The Jungle Book wasn't like your average movie where you have live-action plates to which you have to add CG elements. In this film you had CG plates to which you had to add the live-action elements, which is pretty crazy. This meant that the pre-vis stage of the filmmaking process in this movie was perhaps the most important. Digital Domain supplied the motion capture system on the set and the low-res digital environments developed in Previs. These low-res environments allow the team to identify where the live action was going to take place within the digital environment, so they could build a small physical set with exactly the same shape, scale and inclination as the digital one. Then, by using Digital Domain's Simulcam technology, they could see a real-time blue-screen composite of what they were shooting within their digital environment, which is so clever. Another thing that had to be carefully planned in Previs was the lighting of the blue screen sets. These sets had to be lit in such a way as to not conflict with the lighting they intended for their digital environment. For example, if Mowgli was running through a forest, he would be lit by the sunlight filtered through the leaves above him. And if Mowgli was strongly lit on the blue screen set, it would be a lot harder to add all these different shadows made by the leaves in post. And so they used blue leaves to cast shadows on Mowgli on their blue screen set. Genius. For the overall design of the Jungle Book animals, they didn't reference the 1968 animated film. Instead, they referenced real animals. First, they studied the anatomy of the creature they wanted to build, and then they would create a skeleton based on its bone structure that the animators could move in a realistic way. Next, they would build the animal's muscle structure and skin on top. The facial rigging was the most complicated because the animals had to be able to talk realistically without becoming too human or unrealistic. In order to accomplish this, MPC began by mapping out facial muscles that the animals have, and making sure that they could yawn and snarl and do everything a real animal could. Next, they concentrated on doing mouth shapes for speaking. This meant adding additional, more human muscles in order to give the animals more control over their lip movements. For the hair and fur, MPC had been working on their own fur grooming tools for a long time, and for the Jungle Book they used Fertility. This tool allowed a lot of variation and complexity for the length of the hairs, their direction and width, and how they clump and mat together. And it just looks so real. It's pretty incredible the amount of amazing things that can be achieved with a computer, but unfortunately, that goes both ways. This is why it's never too soon to improve your internet security, as aside from the obvious known security blunders, there are other ones that many still unknowingly commit, and there are always new security threats that many of us are also unaware of because, understandably, we're not all security professionals. Which brings us to the sponsors of this video, NordPass, an intuitive password manager that can not only protect your passwords and data with XCHA20 encryption, but can also check to see if any of your sensitive data has been leaked by other websites. It can also fill login details and payment options for you, sync between your devices, import passwords that are stored on your browser, which is another blunder by the way, securely share passwords with your friends and much more, all within a very user-friendly, simplistic interface that is both easy to understand and well organized. Also, there's a deal on! Get an exclusive NordPass deal plus 1 additional month for free. Just click the link in this video's description or use code FameFocus at the checkout, and all with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Seriously, if you value your internet security, go to nordpass.com/FameFocus and invest in a password manager who knows more about internet security than you do. You can't just composite a live-action plate with a CG environment and expect it to look wonderful. A lot of subtle details need to be included in order to get it to sit within your environment rather than just sit on it. As we mentioned earlier, lighting is key to getting an element to sit well in a shot, but interaction is also. In order to really become part of the CG environment, Mowgli had to interact with it and it had to interact with him. When Mowgli had to ride on an animal, the actor was filmed on a motion-based rig, but this one had shoulder blades and other actuators to give the capacity for more complex movement. In these scenes, the CG animal was animated before they shot Mowgli. Then, when they were going to shoot the scene, they programmed the motion rig to imitate the motion of their CG animal. For hugging moments and times where Mowgli touches the animal, furry puppets were used on set. They'd then track Mowgli and the puppet and match up their digital one. When Mowgli embraces the mother wolf Raksha, they substituted Mowgli's right hand for a digital one in order to get it to properly interact with the wolf's CG fur, which just looks amazing. The visual effects of The Jungle Book, and the visual effects of every movie for that matter, are a bit like an illusion, an elaborate attempt to get the audience to believe what they are seeing is real. Unfortunately, in one short video we can't cover everything that goes on in this VFX illusion. In truth, we can barely scratch the surface. But what we can try to do, and hopefully manage to achieve, is to show you the amount of planning, passion and artistry that go into achieving the illusion and some of the hard work involved. And perhaps that's for the better. After all, a magic trick is always better when you're not sure exactly how it's done.